What insights into how to improve Twitter did Elon Musk gain from Steve Jobs? Welcome to Eagle News Channel. When Steve Jobs returned to Apple in 1997, the company was in a state of upheaval, and the criticism level was on par with what Elon Musk is currently facing with Twitter. Since Elon Musk took over Twitter more than a month ago, the number of employees has decreased by almost half. Launched and then suspended the Authenticated Account Service, also known as Twitter Blue. The reinstatement of thousands of previously banned accounts has resulted in a decrease in the amount of advertising. Andy Wu, an associate professor at Harvard Business School, and Goran Kalic, an associate professor at McMaster University, both agree that Elon Musk's decision to steer a well-established technological business like Twitter in a different path will be a significant obstacle. This variable is made even more unpredictable by Musk's unconventional approach. The difficulty that Musk has at Twitter is very different from the tasks that he works on at the majority of his other firms. Whether Musk is successful in turning Twitter into the kind of firm he can successfully run or not is going to determine whether he is successful or not with Twitter. Making decisions that are consistent with one another, mutually aligned with one another, and that have a perspective that is long-term is the fundamental component of an effective new strategy. Even while senior management is typically where strategy development begins, alignment enables the strategy to permeate the whole business, thereby influencing people's objectives, the way they work, and the decisions they make. Prior to Musk, Twitter had a crystal clear and long-term goal of concentrating on keeping things as simple as possible. Ev Williams, one of the co-founders of Twitter, once said that in the first year or two of the service's existence, we withdrew most of the functionality we implemented. And even much later, such strategy was still used. The disadvantage is that it makes it more difficult for Twitter to launch new products and inhibits innovation. When you try to keep things as simple as possible, it makes making adjustments and additions more difficult. According to Musk, Twitter has reached a plateau, and this direction will eventually lead to the platform's demise. Changing the strategic course of a firm is one of the most challenging problems that can arise in terms of management. According to estimations provided by McKinsey, the probability of failure could reach as high as 70%. Despite this, there is a precedent for success, such as Steve Jobs' comeback to Apple in the year 1997. That juncture was just as turbulent, painful, and divisive as Musk's acquisition of Twitter was and still is. A look back at the choices that Steve Jobs made might point Elon Musk and other leaders in the right direction. When implementing strategic change, a common pitfall that many chief executive officers encounter is the realization that attempts to mitigate short-term losses should either distort or extend the transition. However, as Steve Jobs got back to work at Apple, he changed his strategy to focus on making products that were not only aesthetically beautiful but also simple to use. The secret of Steve Jobs' success is in the manner in which he oversaw the transition from the previous approach to the new one. After Steve Jobs left Apple in 1985, the business began selling generic products in an effort to undercut its competitors on price. Upon his return, he was met with criticism for the company's precarious financial state, which resulted in him firing roughly half of the workers and the whole board of directors. He then went on to design the iMac. It requires a particular kind of CEO to lead in these kinds of situations, and it's possible that individuals who are perceived as being cold and authoritarian are suitable candidates. The early efforts that Musk made to improve Twitter yielded the same kinds of effects. The question that has to be answered is whether Twitter will be able to endure this short-term discomfort for a sufficient amount of time to properly implement its long-term strategy. In order for managers to go on to the next phase, they need to commit to making difficult decisions in three different areas: the product, the organization, and the stakeholders. Create a change roadmap for the product. Altering existing goods so that they are more aligned with the value proposition of the future is necessary in order to put a new strategy into action. Because of this, there will inevitably be a clash between the traditional value and the modern one. The original purpose of the Twitter Blue authentication service was to differentiate between actual and false accounts on the platform. However, as time passes, it transforms into a symbol of influence. Another one of Musk's value propositions is selling memberships to customers who want to reduce the number of advertisements they see and get early access to new features. Because of the uproar that this choice caused, Musk was forced to postpone the service. The CEO of the organization needs to define the new value of the product and commit to making significant changes to it in order to bring the product into alignment with the new strategy. When Steve Jobs returned to Apple, he immediately altered the value of the firm by discontinuing 70% of the company's already existing product range and debuting the brand new iMac G3. Apple's decision to entirely exit the low-cost computer industry and shift its attention to high-end products was strongly signaled by the introduction of the iMac, which played a significant part in this transition. A big advertising campaign to the tune of $100 million was also implemented as part of this transformation. This was Jobs' way of demonstrating unequivocally that he was committed to the new strategic path. Musk's paid user-centric value proposition for Twitter is demonstrated via Twitter Blue. He made a veiled reference to significant shifts in the near and distant future, such as the introduction of banking and financial services. These items, in order to be successful, need to be in alignment with the new value proposition, just like Steve Jobs did when he focused on industrial design rather than low cost. In addition, Musk needs to make major commitments to the new value proposition, similar to the advertising campaign that Apple ran for the iMac. Transforming the culture of the organization. In the year 2021, executives working for Twitter came to the conclusion that their platform was too good. The previous atmosphere on Twitter made users afraid to constructively critique one another, which resulted in the platform becoming uninteresting. And Musk desires for the corporation to have a more severe tone. This led to chaos, with people quitting their jobs and many publicly denouncing Musk for his actions. A quote attributed to Jobs from 1998 states that he allegedly declared, 10,000 substandard employees need to be dismissed. On the other hand, he advocated for the Department of Industrial Design. Jobs' choice to do so was a signal that Apple will once again embrace a culture that prioritizes the design of excellent goods. This is a move that is consistent with the value proposition that the iMac G3 provides. Musk, for his part, is responsible for uprooting Twitter's previously established culture. However, you must first decide what it is that you wish to substitute. First, Musk still needs to come up with a clear definition of the values and priorities of the severe work culture he wants to develop and the future that Twitter will become. This is an important step. Second, Musk needs to be crystal clear about how he will measure and reward individuals that have the same mindset as him. Involvement of stakeholders. As a result of the strategic transformation, certain stakeholders will no longer be suitable for the new path the company will take. Because the reinstatement of Musk's banned accounts violated previously established guidelines, several advertisers ceased spending money on Twitter in an effort to defend the company's brand. Musk's initiatives to collect a larger percentage of revenue from users rather than from advertisers put Twitter in competition with Apple, which charges a 30% commission for services purchased through the App Store. This is a second example of Musk's business actions. When going through the process of change, leaders need to have the fortitude to let go of stakeholders who are no longer a suitable match for the organization while also luring new stakeholders to support their strategy. When Steve Jobs was younger, he quickly gained both friends and foes. Aware of Microsoft's dominant position in the desktop industry, he started taking steps to bring an end to the drawn-out conflict and to put as much distance as possible between himself and Microsoft. It was an arrangement that he struck with CompUSA Inc., the nation's largest chain of computer retailers, to establish Apple stores under the system, shop-in-shop. He also broke his pledge to allow them to clone the Mac in order to prevent it from being made into a commodity that could be sold in large quantities at a low price. It is ludicrous to expect Twitter to have tight ties with all of its stakeholders. Instead, Musk should concentrate on things that are in line with Twitter's long-term vision and give up things that don't fit definitively but gently. If Musk makes the decision to oppose Apple, he may find supporters from other stakeholders like Epic Games, Spotify, Netflix, Airbnb, and Facebook, as well as news publishers that have an interest in opposing Apple. Although advertising might not be the best business partners in today's free speech, anarchic, and leniently censored environments, the difficult task ahead of Musk will be to make deliberate decisions about which conflicts should not be waged. Steve Jobs often forced Apple to face challenging choices in order to alter its highly successful business model. However, taken together, they demonstrate Apple's dedication to moving in a well-defined strategic path. They not only serve as beacons for products and personnel, but also communicate the company's intentions to many stakeholders. The same goes for Musk. There are a number of potential strategic trajectories that Twitter might take, but Musk's actions today need to be consistent with one another in the long run. The two associate professors found that the greatest error that Musk made in the acquisition of Twitter was that he should have taken into account the difficulty of the situation during the process of performing due diligence. In any case, it is premature to pass judgment on the terrible era that we are currently experiencing. The upheaval of today is essential to the flexibility and adaptability of future. The important question is whether or not Musk will be able to properly transition before the company fails. The vast majority of managers will be unable to do this, although Musk has consistently surpassed it in the past with a wide variety of accomplishments. However, shifting the focus of an organization is very different from putting a rocket into orbit, and it can be convincingly argued that the latter is the more difficult task. Support the channel by like and share the video. Don't forget to press the subscribe button and the bell to receive the latest news. Thank you for watching.